only things in their file.
No, you have a wrong conception of what a court of record is. Have you been to the website?
Yes.
Okay. I think. What is that? Somebody's phone? Okay. Anyway, time to turn off the cell phones. Anyhow, yeah, you need to go to the website and look up court of record. Okay, because the court of record has 5 requirements. Keeping a record is only one of them. Okay? All right.
What's the website?
1215.org, 1215.org is the website. And but you see, if you go to Law Notes and then you go to the foundation, and then you have down here court of record, okay? And that gives you the 5 definitions, which you can copy down as I'm talking. So the thing is that when you're in court on any kind of a hearing, that is not the time to present your case. It's too late to present your case at that point. You present your case on paper. And if the judge attempts to make any decision, you see, the judge in a court of record is not allowed to make any decisions. In a court of record, if you look at requirement number 2, the tribunal is independent of the magistrate. And if you look at requirement number 3, it's a proceeding according to the common law. There's no statutes in a court of record. Okay? I want to point out something interesting about California Constitution. It says in the Constitution, Article 6, Section 1, all the courts in California are courts of record. Now that's not a direct quote, but that's the effect of it. All courts are courts of record. That means no statutes. It's got to be common law. That's why they have the arraignment process in a criminal proceeding. In arraignment, what they do is they ask you, do you accept the law but plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Okay? Well, if you accept the law, meaning the code, right? You're accused of violating section so and so and so and so. How do you plead? Well, if you choose any of those 3 pleadings, guilty, not guilty, or no contest, you've agreed to the code. You've agreed to proceeding outside the common law and inside the statutory law. You've jumped out of common law and into equity. So you need to object to the whole system. You say, you don't put any of those pleadings in. You say, I object to the whole thing. But anyway, so the tribunal is independent of the magistrate. Now, when you are the plaintiff, and that's very important, make sure you're the plaintiff. Okay, none of this stuff works if you're a defendant. So you absolutely must convert yourself into a plaintiff. It's easy to do. All you do is make a counterclaim. Okay? And the challenge is the jurisdiction. You can have other challenges. You can have other claims for injuries. You know, you got beat up in jail. Something. You know, those are claims you can make too. But the primary claim that you make is that the primary claim is that they exceeded their jurisdiction. Now, this is an important point. You all know about the Bill of Rights. You all know about how supposedly you have rights. The truth is you have no rights. Okay? You have a Constitution. The purpose of the Constitution is to keep the government surrounded with an invisible fence. So, you do not plead. Your pleadings are, when you're going against the government, your pleading is not that they violated your rights. Because there's nothing in there in the Constitution that says they can't violate your rights. Okay? So it's a wrong kind of claim. What you do is you claim that they exceeded their jurisdiction. If they don't have jurisdiction granted to them by the Constitution, then they can't take it. And so if they do take jurisdiction over you when they shouldn't, then you challenge that. You say, you guys exceeded your jurisdiction. And because you exceeded your jurisdiction, you caused an injury. And because you caused an injury, you owe compensation called damages. That's the sequence. Now you have a logical string of points here to make. So remember that. They exceeded the jurisdiction, number one. Number two, that resulted in an injury. Number three, they owe you damages for those injuries. If you lost any of your rights, that's the injury. You lost your liberty. That in itself is an injury, just the loss of your rights. They took your property. One of your rights, natural rights, not civil rights. Civil rights are privileges granted by the government. Natural rights you're born with. So if you lost a natural right, the right to speech, free speech, the right to free locomotion, the Bill of Rights lists them, okay, but you have more. If you lose any of those things, then what you do is you claim an injury. That is the injury itself. Okay? You don't have to spill blood. Just the mere fact that you did not have were not able to exercise the right of voluntary locomotion. In other words, you can't walk anywhere you choose to walk. Okay? The only limitation is that you cannot impose on the rights of someone else. Okay? So, bottom line is that you've got to be the plaintiff, and then you can make these claims, and your court supersedes their court on that basis. So, are any questions on that? Okay.
Bill, if you're already in a court situation now, can you become the plaintiff through habeas corpus or by counterclaim if you're already in the case?
Yeah, if you're already in court, you've already got a hot case going, and you've gone down the line, there are some practical limitations to to making a counterclaim. Yeah, you should make a counterclaim before they've really had a chance to move down the line on it. I'd make a counterclaim the minute I know there's charges. Okay? But if you're downstream, the counterclaim becomes a little dubious. So you can always do a claim later anyway. But what you can always do is habeas corpus. Now, if you do a habeas corpus by motion, where you go into their court and you make a motion to them and you're begging the judge to do the right thing, 99.999% of all of those habeas corpuses get denied. Okay? But if you do a common law habeas corpus, a constitutionally based habeas corpus, which is the same thing, you do a habeas corpus, you are in your sovereign capacity. By what authority do they presume to rebel against the sovereignty of the country or the sovereignty of the state? Okay? If you are one of the people of the state, or one of the people of the country, of the United States in other words, well then they have no authority over you. The only way they can get authority over you, well, first of all, they can't. There's no way they can get authority over you. Okay? Just like the robber has no legal basis for taking your money. He may still do it, but he doesn't have a legal basis. So there is no legal basis, no way that they can take over you if you are sovereign. But what they can do is they can carry their information they have against you over to a grand jury. And then the grand jury produces an indictment. When an indictment is produced, that takes it out of the hands of the government. It is now into the hands of the people. That's the theory. Then the next step is a petite jury, or in other words, a jury of 12, and then the government can present its case, but it's still in the hands of the people. Okay, the jury this time. That's the theory. Unfortunately, we no longer have people sitting on the jury. What we have is citizens of the United States sitting on the jury. And as you may recall, I've made a distinguishment I do distinguish between people and citizens. The people own the government, and the government owns the citizens. And that is That's clarified here in people or citizen. Which one are you? Okay, when you go back to that page. Okay? So, this all explains how the preamble works. Okay, so let me ask you this. Is everybody